as y'all know, I famously did not do very well with my Golden Globe predictions. Now, in my defense, and I'm sure a lot of you feel this way, the awards movies this year are a little less attainable. They're a little harder to come by. They are not as widely distributed as they have been in years prior. And, you know, there's been a lot going on as far as who is entering this race, what studios are entering the awards race. And there was a lot of surprises. There was a lot of upsets. And frankly, it's just been a very interesting year as far as awards movies go. So we did not do our best work with Golden Globes, but we told ourselves we were going to make up the difference. And by we told ourselves, I mean me. It was mostly me beating myself up about it. Chat was pretty kind. As kind as chat can be. So, folks, we have been studying all of the awards leading up to the 2025 Academy Awards. We have been watching the press cycles. We have been looking at the DGA, the PGA, the Critics' Choice, the SAG, all these different union groups, all these different award shows, news coverages, all of this leading to what is our definitive Academy Award Oscars prediction. So, our goal is 70% correct. I believe we did the math, and that means 16 correct. Do I think I have 16 correct in here? Probably. So let's get into it. So folks, the way we're going to do this is I'm going to run through the presentation. Some of the awards I feel very confident and I will lock in quite quickly. Some of them are going to be guesses, to be completely honest with you. And some of them, we are going to rank them on a scale of deserving to not deserving. We're going to see, as we really picture everything that's happened leading up to the awards, where do these actually fall? So, without any further ado, let's get into it, starting with actor in a leading role. Now we have Adrien Brody from The Brutalist as one of the initial frontrunners. Adrien Brody won the Golden Globe, and he's kind of done his dues in this industry. Not to mention the fact that Adrien Brody in The Brutalist acts for a really long time. The Brutalist is a 3.5-hour movie. So if you haven't seen it, do not feel bad. It is hard to find a theater that is screening it. And even if you do, that is a really long commitment these days for a single movie. The next upcoming, frontrunner coming out, our dark horse candidate essentially, is Timothée Chalamet from A Complete Unknown. Timothée Chalamet got overlooked at the Golden Globes, but he showed up for Critics' Choice, he showed up for SAG-AFTRA Awards, and he has been showing up everywhere, period. So his campaigning has really boosted since the Golden Globes. They did have a little bit of a downside as well with the fact that the movie came out over the Christmas break, essentially. So by the time Golden Globes were happening, maybe there wasn't as much of a conversation happening around his movie. And then, of course, we've had much more time since then for this Oscars campaign. Colman Domingo, Sing Sing. I really love this movie. I think, thinking back to it, I think it might be the best movie for me last year, and his performance is pretty noteworthy in there. I believe that A24 has put him on the back seat to give Adrien Brody the boost that he needs. Ralph Fiennes in Conclave has been pretty upfront in a lot of conversations. The film has received awards over in the BAFTAs, at the British Awards. Conclave received SAG Awards for the ensemble, but Ralph Fiennes as the leading man has really not taken a lot of the conversation. And then, of course, Sebastian Stan portraying soon-to-be president at Donald Trump in The Apprentice. This is just a contentious role for him, although it is well acted, and although he is been sort of pushing 2 films with The Apprentice and the other movie that he actually won the award for, which is The Other Man. I got there. I don't see this campaign working out for him. Very famously, Sebastian Stan had this moment where he was talking about doing Variety's Actors on Actors, where it was the Hollywood Reporters Roundtable that they didn't want to include him because people were scared to talk about his performance as Donald Trump. So who does the Oscar go to? Who does the little man go to? Well, folks, we need to do a little bit more guesstimating to figure out. So this is our will they win an Oscars alignment chart. So you'll see here we have winning and not winning, as well as deserved and not deserved. Who is going to win? Who deserves to win? Because frankly, what we know from the Academy Awards over the years and what we know about the Oscars in general is that it's not always who should win that does win. It's ultimately about who campaigned harder and who the industry believes deserves their flowers. So we'll start here with Sebastian Stan. Sebastian Stan is one of the most interesting actors to watch in this current generation, and I do think that he is deserving of an award and will have probably multiple Oscars to his name. He is not winning. He is definitely not winning. I do not think that they campaigned him hard enough. I do not think that, frankly, I do not think Hollywood wants to give someone an award for portraying Donald Trump. I do think that they are petty in that way. And on top of the fact that he's got some really steep competition. So does he deserve to win? Yes, not for this role. I do think that Ralph Fiennes for Conclave just barely doesn't deserve the role. I'll probably put him close to the center there. I do think that he is a really talented working actor who has done so much outside of the Harry Potter franchise to really build his career up and set himself up as a noteworthy actor, but I don't think this is the movie that does it for him. Colman Domingo does really well in Sing Sing, and I think that he definitely deserves the shot at the Oscar. I don't think this is his movie, and I hope we see him win an award soon. I just don't think it's going to happen here. So now we have good old Timmy and Adrian Brody. Look, I'm going to tell you, Adrian Brody has had some more contentious things about his past brought up recently. I'm sure you'll have seen the SNL clip. He has been relatively unproblematic during his off time, but I think part of what happens with the campaigns in the modern era means that people are going to start looking at everything about you, and I think with that, his chances do go down a little bit, but I do see him possibly winning, so I'm leaning him into the kind of not deserved, but kind of very likely winning. And then we have Timothée Chalamet, who has been nominated multiple times over, who has been campaigning his ass off, who has been everywhere for a performance that, by all accounts, is really good and is a career-defining moment for him again, as if you can only have so many at, 20-something years old. Is it deserved? I think yes. I think Timothée Chalamet's put in the work. I think that his team has put in the work. I think this movie might do it for him. I do think, for me, and this might be a hot take, I edge him out a little bit more for winning. So, for me, actor in a leading role, the Oscar goes to Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown. It's tough. It's tough. It's very likely, very possible, very probable that Adrien Brody runs away with it. I think Timothée Chalamet takes it by just a little bit. Now, actor in a supporting role, we talked about this before. Rarely do we see a surprise where an awards sweep doesn't continue all the way through the Oscars. So, Yura Borisov, Kieran Culkin, Edward Norton, Guy Pearce, Jeremy Strong. I have heard good things about all these performances. Of these that I've seen, I have seen Anora. And I think Yura does really well, but honestly, it was a surprising nomination to me, and I think for a lot of people. Edward Norton has done the rounds already, as well as Guy Pearce. Jeremy Strong, poor guy, cannot catch a break from being put up against his Succession co-star, Kieran Culkin, who won the Golden Globe, won the Critics' Choice, won the SAG-AFTRA, and will be winning the Oscar. Definitively, without a doubt, will be winning the Oscars. So for my 16 that I'm shooting for, this one I feel very confident about. Similarly, oh no, we're going to leading before we go into supporting. Look, I'll say it now. Actress in a supporting role, I think we all would have loved to see Ariana Grande run away with it. Monica Barbaro has a lot of really good momentum behind her because of Timmy in A Complete Unknown. Felicity Jones, I have not seen her anywhere. They are not pushing her very strongly at all. Isabella Rossellini has gotten a lot of praise from the BAFTAs and the SAG Awards again for ensemble cast, but actress in a supporting role, similar to Kiernan, it's the full sweep. Zoe Saldana, she won the Golden Globes, she won the SAG Award, she's getting this award. This is a lock for Emilia Perez. I do not know how many locks Emilia Perez has, but for sure, this is a lock for Emilia Perez. Now, going back to actress in a leading role, this has been a very interesting race to watch. Ultimately, this has come down to two people. So let's get some of the others out of the way. Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. I think that she did a phenomenal job. I don't think this is the last time we see actress in a leading role, Cynthia Erivo, Wicked. I do believe very confidently that for next year's Oscars, off of Wicked for Good or Wicked Part 2, whatever they end up calling it, I do see Cynthia ending up here again. This movie was not the one for her. Carla Sofia Gascon. Look, we've all seen the controversies. We all understand what's happening. It just came out. I got the push notification while I was live on this broadcast that she will be attending the Oscars. Netflix has decided they will be flying her out for the show. She's been wrapped up in a lot of controversy, which is such a shame because she is also the first trans woman to be nominated for actress in a leading role. So, looking aside her as a person and some of the controversial things that she's done, it is really telling of the times and how this industry has really adapted to, the progressive nature of Hollywood and storytelling in general. So it's great to see her nominated. She is not walking away with this award. The only competition that frankly just didn't have a fair enough shot was Fernanda Torres in I'm Still Here. I'm Still Here is an international film, which is always harder to push for some of these awards. And Fernanda Torres just didn't have the push of a big studio, a big specific award style studio behind her, like Demi and Mikey Madison. So this is the back and forth race. Mikey Madison was the huge front runner for the Best Actress race. Mikey Madison won the Film Independent Spirit Award. Mikey Madison was the front runner for the Golden Globes, and then we were all surprised to see Demi Moore run away with it. And Demi Moore has continued to go back and forth. Demi won the SAG award the other night. Mikey has been getting a lot of praise from critics and from the indie market. So let's just go into it, right? So Cynthia Erivo, does she deserve it for her performance? I'm going to say, yeah, kind of, but she's maybe less definitely not winning. I'll intro a little bit that way. Carla Sofia Gascon, it is not deserved, and she is not winning. I'm just going to be frank. And then, of course, Fernanda Torres, she is not winning. She probably deserves it. In fact, I would say she probably deserves it a little bit more than Cynthia, but she is less likely than Cynthia to win. So she put on a great performance and represents herself very well, but I think the studios just had really tough competition, because here we have Mikey Madison and Demi Moore. I have seen both of these movies. From my personal opinion, who deserves it more? I think, as far as acting goes, if the Academy Awards were just on acting, I would say Mikey Madison deserves it a little bit more than Demi Moore. And I mean a little bit. I probably set them up like this. However, the Academy Awards are not just about performance. It is about everything else that happens. It is about your story. It is about how good the Academy is going to feel putting the check next to your name, and how gratifying is that story, that narrative, because these are storytellers that are putting these lists together. So these storytellers want everything to have a good conclusion and very rewarding. And Demi Moore has been in the industry for a really long time, and she has put in the work, and her Golden Globe speech absolutely blew everyone away with her messaging and her story, which is why I think, for me, Demi Moore has put in her work in the industry. Mikey Madison is young. She has done a handful of really good independent movies and has done really good work. I think she's got a lot of promise to show, but I think that it's Demi. So for me, Academy Award, Demi Moore for The Substance. Moving on. Animated feature film is not a lock like I thought it would have been way back with the Golden Globes. If y'all remember with the Golden Globes, I thought it was Wild Robot without a doubt, because I just could not escape that movie. Little did I know, a little cat with a lot of heart was going to sneak into the competition. So let's just go right into it. So starting with Memoir of a Snail. Look, I have not seen Memoir of a Snail, but I have heard a lot of really promising things about it. I just don't think that they've had a big foot in this race. So I'm saying Memoir of a Snail is not winning, but I'm keeping them in the middle. Is it deserved? Is it not deserved? I don't know. I haven't seen the movie. To be fair, somebody who I trust their opinion very strongly said it was the best movie they've seen last year, so maybe I'll inch it slightly more towards deserves winning, but they're not going to take it. Inside Out 2, up until a couple weeks ago, was the highest grossing animated movie of all time. Inside Out 2 expanded upon the first one, which I believe the first one did win the Academy Award. Yes, the first Inside Out did win. I don't think critically this movie did as well, and I don't think this movie has been championed as well. I'm going to say softly, for my opinion, not deserved not winning. I think it's certainly not winning, but I'm just going to softly say not deserved. I think it's just not quite as good as the original, and when your own competition is the memory and the impression that you left based on the last movie you made, that's difficult. Wallace and Gromit, look, I love stop motion movies. I love Wallace and Gromit. They took home the BAFTA because, of course, British are going to vote for the British film. Do they deserve it? I always say stop motion movies deserve to win these awards. Oh, I think Memoir of a Snail just went up a little higher on my list. Does it deserve it? Yes. Is it going to win? No. This could be a surprising dark horse out of nowhere, but I'm going to say probably not. And then we have Wild Robot, which has really, really put in the work to campaign. Wild Robot has put in the work, but it keeps coming up short against The Little Cat, against Flow, which is a movie with a fantastic story. It is a small team of independent filmmakers from with no dialogue, based out of, oh gosh, I want to get the country right. Sorry, folks. Latvia. It is a film out of Latvia with a very small team. They have put in a lot of effort to show how much heart and love went into this film. They released an animatic version of the film, which to anybody who works in animation, you get a much clearer picture of how dedicated they were to the original vision of this film from the start. I think that everything I've seen about the film is beautiful. The story is beautiful. It was done on free software compared to Wild Robot, which has a massive studio pushing behind it, using, industry leading artists, industry professional, industry veteran creative teams behind it. Does it deserve it? I'm gonna inch towards maybe not, but there is a chance that Wild Robot could upset. But my official lock for best animated feature film, the Oscar goes to Flow. Now comes the short films. And folks, I will be frank with you, it is hard to find the short films. And I tried, and I did not. So this is our first guess. This is our first guess of the evening. And so, Beautiful Men? Yeah? Beautiful Men? How we feel about Beautiful Men? I feel good about Beautiful Men. We're going to do that one. The Oscar goes to Beautiful Men. All right, cinematography. This is tough. I think that cinematography this year actually had some pretty stacked competition. Brutalist had a lot, based on, of course, the subject matter of the film that they really had to capture. And again, there's just a lot of movie. It is a long movie. There's a lot of opportunities to really lean into some cinematography and some really fun, detailed shots. Dune Part 2, frankly, a lot of the chatter in the industry is that people are upset that Dune Part 2 did not get some of the other bigger categories like Best Director and Best Picture, or aren't seeing Dune as an actual potential winner in Best Picture. So I do see a lot of love towards Dune, and also it is a movie that me personally, I saw it in theaters and I went back to see it in IMAX because I just had to know how much better it could get. Emilia Perez, look, I think that there's just been so much controversy surrounding this movie that I can't imagine people getting too excited for it. That being said, it is well shot. The parts of it that I saw, the first 40 minutes before I had to turn it off. And it is a very visually striking film. But again, I think there's just a little bit of controversy around it. Maria, I have not really heard a lot about in this race. I think that they lost a lot of steam after the Golden Globes. And then Nosferatu is a very interesting film that is shot very well. It's very unique and definitely stands out amongst the rest here. For me, though, I think that the industry wants to reward a film that has a good mix of practical and visual effects and has action, has scale, has a lot of really technical things happening. So I may be wrong here. It could be The Brutalist, but I'm going to give it to Dune Part 2. Academy Award goes to Dune Part 2. Costume design. Look, this was a really stacked year for costume design in very different ways. A Complete Unknown is a period piece, and a period piece about fashionable artists. Conclave is about people in the Vatican, which frankly, it's not easy fashion to replicate. Gladiator Part 2, again, a period piece with a lot of people to costume. Nosferatu, yeah, very interesting. Nosferatu in chat, very beautiful, elegant, but also like sick and twisted type stuff. And then Wicked with all of the wonderful Emerald City stuff that they did. So there's a lot of stuff here that's really promising. For me, based on what I have seen campaigned more, and based on some of the voices in the industry that are really putting themselves out there, I give it to Wicked. I think Wicked has the best shot at winning in some of these technical categories, as opposed to the main actors and directors and whatnot. That being said, Wicked's costume work is really impressive, is really detailed, and I think that they did put in the work to win it here. Surprising upset, I think, could be Conclave. Conclave will likely walk out with one award at least, but I don't know that it will be costume design. Directing. Yosh, this is another back and forth race that we've had here. So what's been happening with the directing awards? So we have the biggest contenders here being Sean Baker for Anora and Brady Corbet for The Brutalist. Complete Unknown, James Mangold, I think he's a fantastic director. I think he does really good art house movies. I think he does really good big movies. Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez, I think he has put his foot in his mouth one too many times, and I don't think a lot of people would feel happy to put his name on there. Orly Arjit for The Substance, I think could be a surprise. So let's get into it. I'm gonna right here just say not deserved, not winning for Emilia Perez. James Mangold, I'm gonna say not winning, just barely not deserved. I think he's a great director. I think he has really good ways of telling unique stories. Everything feels Western, even though not quite Western, and I don't fully know what I mean by that, but if you've ever seen a James Mangold movie, you know what I mean. The Substance, Coralie, I'm gonna say probably deserved, but probably not winning. Just because Sean Baker and Brady Corbet really just have so much going on. So Brady Corbet won the Golden Globe, but Sean Baker won the DGA. Brady Corbet wrote this movie. Brady Corbet fought to make this movie 3.5 hours long. and he won the Globe. He's put in the work. It's very possible that he could win this movie, so I would put him in sort of this quadrant. Like, it's deserved, and it's likely that he could win. Sean Baker. I think Sean Baker takes it away for having the better story. He's put in the work. He's very beloved by the small film industry. And Sean Baker wrote Anora, directed Anora, edited Anora, and deserves it for Anora. So for me, Academy Award for Best Director goes to Sean Baker for Anora. And I really hope I'm right here. I really like Sean Baker. Documentary feature film is one that I have not caught any of these. Frankly, in my opinion, the best... Oh, hello, focus. In my opinion, the best documentary film that came out last year was Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, and I think it is disrespectful that that movie was not nominated. Another fun one was Piece by Piece, but I understand why that one wasn't. All that being said, for me, out of all of these, the one that keeps coming up is Porcelain War, so I'm giving the Academy Award to Porcelain War. This is a little bit of a guess, but it's also just what the chatter has been around the industry and what I have seen. Documentary short film, folks. This is going to be a guess. This is going to be a guess. Do not hate me for guessing. I am ready, Warden. I don't know. This is a guess. Film editing. So, going back to the conversation we were just having about Sean Baker, Sean Baker also edited Anora. So, there is a good story to be told there for him getting a nod in this category. The Brutalist is a really long movie, so they do deserve some respect for putting it all together. Conclave is decently edited film from what I've seen. Emilia Perez has a lot going on. It is a musical. It's got these dreamy operatic sequences, as well as some dark narrative stuff. Then Wicked, also a musical, also has some really fun components going on. The sequence for Loathing is really fun with some of the dual split screen stuff that they do. There's a lot of energy in that film, and a lot of VFX stuff that's incorporated as well that adds to how that film is put together. I think for me it's between Wicked and Emilia Perez, and I think am I gonna really give it to Emilia Perez? I don't want to, but I think... You know what? I said earlier Conclave's going to walk out of this night with an award. I think it could be in film editing. I think Wicked did a really good job, but I think a lot of people, a lot of the voters might have this idea in the back of their head, the same one that I keep bringing up, that Wicked, it'll always have next year. There's always going to be Wicked Part 2 next year. And maybe this one didn't fully wow me, but next year could. So I'm gonna shoot a shot here on Conclave. I think they deserve a couple awards, and I think this might be one of them. International feature film. This is a really interesting category. I think I'm Still Here has really made themselves known in this race with the Best Actress category. And I think that Flow has really surprised a lot of people and has put Latvia on the map for the Academy Awards, which is incredible. That being said, Emilia Perez has dominated the conversation and it is beloved by industry people, or at least the filmmaking team behind Emilia Perez is beloved by industry people. Do I think that all of the discourse surrounding Emilia Perez is enough to take it out of the running? I would really like to hope so, but I do not think so. I think Emilia Perez is still really strong in the running. And so, as much as I don't love to, I think I give it to Emilia Perez here. This is what might happen. I think that some people might be frustrated with the narrative around Emilia Perez and might be putting their vote on Flo instead. And I think there's a possibility that I'm Still Here ends up taking it because of the split votes. But I think I'm giving it to Emilia Perez. Academy Award for Best International Feature Film, Emilia Perez. I'm not proud of it. But they're going to get a couple. They already got a few. Makeup and hairstyling, y'all. This is a really stacked category this year. And so we have a chart. A Different Man, Emilia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. Let's just stay on this page for a second. You can see the range of makeup and hairstyling. So we have, this is Sebastian Stan in A Different Man under prosthetic makeup to make him look like he has this, disformity that is the whole premise of the movie. Emilia Perez, which ultimately creates a male version of Carla Sofia Gascon, and also just does have a lot of really good variety and range of makeup and hairstyling because it is ultimately a musical. There's a lot of other stuff that goes on in that movie on top of this, but this is of course one of the big highlights. Nosferatu has Nosferatu in it. It has this vampire, this yucky guy who if y'all haven't seen the picture of the gift that Nicholas Hoult got from the wrap of this movie, go look it up. I cannot show it on stream, but it's very funny. The Substance, which again I cannot show on stream for the amount of stuff that is shown. This is a very cropped image that I had to put on screen, but they do a lot of really crazy stuff in here. Also, I guess spoiler alert for The Substance, but if you haven't seen it by this point, you don't want to see it. And then Wicked. Wicked again has a lot of variety. It's got the entire world of Oz put together. So where do I stack these all? First off, I think A Different Man is not winning because it's just Sebastian Stan for the most part. So I don't think it's winning. I think they did a good job. I'm maybe just going to inch them slightly deserved, but actually pretty definitively not. Nosferatu, I think, is deserved, and it has industry leading makeup and hairstyling team working on it. I do not believe that they are winning because of how steep this competition is. Emilia Perez, an inch towards not deserved and just barely not win. Just under. I think there's a chance Emilia Perez surprises us, but I think Nosferatu has a little bit more of a chance. I think really this race comes down to The Substance and Wicked. Between these two, I think that Substance has really deserved this win. I think Wicked has maybe not earned it as much as The Substance, but I do think Wicked wins. So here's my reason why. I think that Wicked has a lot more looks and a lot more people to makeup and hairstyle. I think Wicked ultimately has two lead characters that one is green, right? Elphaba is green. Cynthia Erivo is green for the entirety of the movie and in this very elaborate wig. And Ariana Grande doesn't look like Ariana Grande in this movie. Not to mention everything else that happens with all the fun side characters, all the background dancers, everything like that. The stuff that happens in The Substance is really cool and really sick, but it's mostly just on Demi or on Margaret Qualley. So the scale of it is, I think, the reason for it. So for that, I say Academy Award for makeup and hairstyling goes to Wicked. And I don't think they get it for Wicked Part 2. I think it's just for the one. Music, Best Original Score, Shot in the Dark here. I think it's Wicked. Maybe not, though. Maybe it's Conclave. I'm going to say it's Conclave. This one's a shot in the dark. I don't really understand the musical categories. I can never guess these correctly, except for when John Williams is on here. I do know that Hans Zimmer was robbed and snubbed for not being nominated for Dune Part 2, but also, and let's throw the headphones back on for this, the real travesty is not having this song and this score be nominated. Challengers being excluded from this category is absolutely abysmal. It is without a doubt the best original score, and I would say Match Point is the best original song that came out this year. So it is a travesty that they were not nominated. So whatever, Conclave can have it. Don't give it to Amelia Perez. Moving on. Best Original Song won the Golden Globe. It won the Golden Globe. I think it's going to be El Mal for Amelia. I think maybe people get fed up with this Amelia Perez noise and give it to Elton John. But I'm going to say El Mal. It won the Globe. It's more than likely going to take the Academy. Production design. This is a really good category. Brutalist is incredible. Conclave was so well done. Dune Part 2, hello. They did so much work physically and digitally. Nosferatu was gorgeous and disgusting, but folks, it always comes back to how many of you have heard about the tulips and the millions of tulips that got planted. That's not a coincidence. They did the marketing about all these practical sets and they put in the money for it because they knew it meant they would get the award. Production design, Wicked, blocked. Confident. Live action short. Gonna guess. I'm not a robot because the time's cool. Sound design. So this is a very interesting category for me. We have two musicals nominated for sound design. We have a musical biopic nominated. And we have a really well done animated movie and a really well done, like, big sci-fi epic. This is a very mixed category. For me, though, I think the award goes to Wicked because Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, in all of their campaigning, did so much to talk about the fact that the singing was done live. And it's not just that the singing was done live, it's that the singing was recorded live. And based on the director of the movie, if he's to be believed, like 90% of the singing that is in the final version of the film was sung live on set. And integrating that into the soundtrack, integrating that into the audio mix, cutting back and forth from singing takes to talking takes, the fact that they had to set up individual in-ear monitors with a piano player live on set, playing the songs for all of the cast that were singing along. I think that's huge. I think Wicked takes the sound award. Visual effects, or as I like to call it, the year of the chimpanzee. Folks, we have a chart for this one. This is an interesting category, and funny enough, 3 out of the 5 are who did the best ape. Who did the best ape? So let's get the other 2 out of the way. Look, Dune Part 2, I think, did phenomenal work with the visual effects, and let me check. I think Dune Part 1, did it win? Yeah, I think it did win for... No, it did not win. It was nominated and it lost to Godzilla. That's right. Look, I think Dune Part 2 did really well, and I think they did a lot of really cool things with Dune to make their effects stand out. I think, frankly, all of these are deserved. I don't think Dune is winning. Similarly, I think Alien Romulus looks amazing. This is not the most flattering image, but this sequence in that movie is absolutely bonkers insane. If you know anything about visual effects, Corridor Crew, if you've never heard of them, look them up on YouTube. They do really great breakdowns. They've broken down all of these films. In fact, they recently did an episode talking about all of these effects. Some of the stuff they do, some of the simulations they do for Alien Romulus are incredible, but it's the year of the apes. So folks, we got A Better Man, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. I don't think Wicked wins it here, and I put them square in the middle because yes, the flying monkeys are a good thing to show off, and the transitions that they do is great, but I think Wicked does some less than stellar work in some areas of their VFX. Some of the set extensions, some of the green screen work could have been better. So ultimately, it comes down to A Better Man and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And A Better Man is fantastic. Your lead character is a fully CG character who has dozens of clothing items, dozens of interactions with real humans, so much work done. I think they put in the work, they put in the effort that it could give them the edge. But ultimately, I think Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes takes it for the fact that they had to do this, but they had to do this dozens of times over for many, many more characters. Not to mention this scene here in particular, the water over the fur with the interaction with the real set pieces and the real human actor on set, and the effectiveness of the emotion. And on top of the fact that this movie has put in the work to really highlight the visual effects, they released a cut of the movie that is entirely effectless. It is just the motion capture data. I think I give Academy Award here to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and it is well earned. Apes together strong. Best Adapted Screenplay. Now, folks, I with all my heart want to give this to Sing Sing because I really like this movie, and I think it deserves all the flowers that it hasn't gotten. That being said, I think it's going to go to Conclave. I think Conclave needs to get a few under its belt, and I think that the industry and the Academy really like this movie. I think that Universal has done a good job of positioning this movie and really campaigning for it where it matters. I would love for it to be Sing Sing. I would love for it to be for me to be wrong here. I do believe it's going to be going to Conclave. Could be surprised by Best Original Screenplay. I think that I am going to give it to The Substance. And I think that Anora is fantastic, but I think that Sean Baker is his own competition as editor and director for this movie. I think The Brutalist is a lot of movie and in some steep competition. A Real Pain I have heard a lot of good things about, but I don't think that they put the money towards the writing campaign. I think they put it towards Kieran Culkin. September 5 is a good movie, but it is not a winning movie. I don't know why it keeps hanging out in here. And The Substance is just original. It is just so original and so effective as a metaphor and as a storytelling piece. I think that Substance takes home the Oscar. And now that brings us to the final category of the night, folks. The 10 pictures nominated for Best Picture. Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. Now, here is the interesting things. If you all do not know, Best Picture specifically is voted on by ranked choice voting. What does that mean? It means that the person filling out the ballot is told to rank these movies in order of which ones they like. Your first choice, your second choice, your third choice, right? As you do this, as they are tallying up the totals, they tally it all up, and whichever one's at the bottom, they knock out. And when they knock that out, if your number one choice was at the bottom, you are now being moved on to cast a vote to your number two choice. So they do that process over and over again to eliminate all until they are left with the winner. So what does that mean, historically speaking? It means that the best picture isn't always the best picture. It is the most consistent picture. It is often people's more consistent second choice that wins than the overwhelming standout choice. So, where do things fall this year? I'm glad you asked. We have a chart. So, let's get some of these out of the way. Look, I think that Emilia Perez is not winning Best Picture, and I don't think it deserves Best Picture. Let's just get that out of the way. I think that there's been a lot of disservice to this own movie from some of the filmmakers that have really hurt the narrative around this film. And frankly, having tried to watch it, I do not think it is Best Picture worthy. I think that Dune Part 2 is not winning for sure. I do think that they do deserve it. And I think it would be crazy and it would be a absolute surprise to see them actually earn this award, but the Academy, for whatever reason, refuses to see Dune and refuses to see the fantastic work that Denis Villeneuve puts into this movie as legitimate per Oscar standards. And I know a lot of voters and I know a lot of people have complained about it, but frankly, I don't see it taking home the trophy. Similarly, I don't see I'm Still Here taking it home. I'm probably going to put them a little further behind Dune as far as as far as deservedness, but definitely not winning. Wicked. Look, I love Wicked. I love Wicked. I love musicals. I love Wicked, the stage production. I love this movie. It does not deserve Best Picture, and it will not win Best Picture. Similarly, I think A Complete Unknown has done a lot of work to propel Timothée Chalamet's career, and I think it's getting a lot of appropriate buzz for Bob Dylan. I do not think this movie deserves to win Best Picture, nor do I see it winning Best Picture. Even less likely than The Substance deserves to have a seat at this table, but The Substance I don't think wins. I think The Substance could surprise us as a more consistent number 2, but I think that the horror genre, if you even want to call this movie a horror, it's a body horror, but it's more a thriller than a horror, I'd say, struggles in this category and struggles in the awards conversation. So I think it's deserved. I don't think it's winning. I think it could surprise us. I leave it inching towards the pink there a little bit. Nickel Boys, I'm sure, deserves it as the type of story that it tells and the unique type of filmmaking that it does, but I don't see it winning. So now we have Conclave, The Brutalist, and Anora. This has been the back and forth. Brutalist and Anora. But folks, what was I just talking about? That consistently number 2, the second best movie wins. And look, I think people are going to be battling out for The Brutalist and Anora. Which is why I think Conclave doesn't deserve Best Picture against these two, but there is a very high chance that it could end up winning. I think some people try to play the game with ranked choice voting and try and say, oh, well, I know Brutalist is Anora's biggest competition, so I'm going to put Anora number 1, Conclave number 2, Brutalist number 3. Or vice versa, 1, 2, 3. And that is ultimately what sometimes gets movies like Conclave winning the Academy Award. That's what gets movies like Coda winning the Academy Award. That's what gets movies like... Well, no, Moon Knight kind of ruined it. Parasite, maybe, but Parasite deserved it, but Parasite's not the type of movie that typically wins Best Picture. So, all that being said, do I think Conclave actually squeaks this one out? I don't know, because I think The Brutalist has put in the campaign to deserve it. But I think the Producers Guild giving Anora Best Picture is what makes me think it might just barely squeak out on top. So I'm going to say Anora deserves it a little bit more. And I think will win. Brutalist ever so slightly behind. And Conclave right there underneath it. So for me, Best Picture, and this is a risk, I think Best Picture goes to Anora. I really think that the PGA settles it. Oh, but I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not super confident. I think The Brutalist has a really fair shot, and I think Conclave could completely dark horse it, but Best Picture 2025, Anora. Was it the best movie that came out last year? No, I don't think so. I think it probably for me is Sing Sing, which didn't get nominated, and I'm heartbroken about it. But folks, there you have it. My official locked in nominations. Let's do a super quick review. We are shooting for 16. We are shooting for 16. That gives us 70%, which is redemption from the Golden Globes. So, Best Picture goes to Anora. Original Screenplay, The Substance. Adapted Screenplay, Conclave. Visual Effects, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Sound, Wicked. Live action short film, I'm Not a Robot. Production design, Wicked. Original song, El Mal, Emilia Perez. Music, Conclave. Makeup and hairstyling, Wicked. International feature film, Emilia Perez. Film editing, Conclave. Documentary short film, I Am Ready Warden. Documentary feature film, Porcelain War. Director, Sean Baker Anora. Costume design, Wicked. Cinematography, Dune Part 2. Animated short film, Beautiful Men. Animated feature film, Flow. Actress in a supporting role, Zoe Saldana. Actress in a leading role, Demi Moore. Actor in a supporting role, Kieran Culkin. And actor in a leading role, Timothée Chalamet. And there it is, folks. The official Academy Award predictions from JP Gorg himself. If you want to find out how I did, make sure you're following on Twitch. We will be reviewing Monday right after the awards. I will need a full day to decompress. We will tally up how we did. If you're watching this later on YouTube, like and subscribe. But if you ever want to catch these live, come hang out on Twitch Mondays at 8. I am always here. That being said, this is not the only stream this week, folks, because I promised you all we were also going to be playing Oscars Bingo. So Thursday, catch me live again at 8. We're going to be doing Oscars Bingo. If you don't know what it is, don't worry, I will teach you. But essentially, we are going to be predicting the things that will for sure be happening, and trying to see if we can get bingo. It's really fun. Play along. We can make boards all together and figure out the categories. We will be doing that on Thursday. So this Thursday, Oscars bingo boards, as well as catching up on the news of the week. And then Monday the 3rd, we will be reviewing our bingo boards. We will be reviewing how we did with the Academy Awards. And that is it for tonight, folks. That's everything I had. Thanks again for sticking around. As always, if you watched with us live, I really appreciate you taking your Monday evening with me. If you are watching the VOD after, or if you watch the YouTube video, thanks for watching along. Come join us live whenever you can. It's really fun to have the conversation with y'all here in chat. Really appreciate y'all coming out and humoring me here with the Academy Award predictions. Look, we need 16, and let me see. I have, how many am I really confident? 1, 2, 4, 5. I'm going through like the ones I think I'm for sure confident. I'm not telling you which ones. 6, 7. Okay. Say 8. 9. 11. 12. Okay, hold on. We're getting there. 13. 14. I have 14 that I feel really good about.